Hi, so now we're at the stage where we're going to try and see what the tune is like on the Busa. So I've done a couple of things already, but before I show you them, let me show you what's involved in the Woolich Racing kit. So the main piece of logic that's in here is this logbox. This takes signals from the ECU and the wideband oxygen sensor and stores it onto a SD card. And what you do is that you plug that in. It's got a USB cable connection there, and you plug it into your computer. The Woolich software will read the tune, read the tables, and be able to program the ECM. Over here we've got the Zytronics wideband O2 sensor box, some cabling, and I've already put the O2 sensor on in the exhaust. And we have assorted cables that I need to hook up. Perhaps the most interesting one is this cable here. So it comes with a connector, but on this side we have 4 pins. And these 4 pins go into unpinned sockets in the ECM connector. So, and through these pins, we can program the ECM, put in a new tune. So let me take you over to the car and show you the wideband sensor. It's a full size one, like a car engine one, so I had to take out my adapter for the bike one, but it just goes in here. I'll just run it through here and I'll run the cabling into the scuttle. So the idea is that I'll try and make this as seamless as possible. I'll take the cover off, take the scuttle off to get to all the electronics inside, and then I'll wire it up. And I'll show you how I've done that on this particular car. So here we have the scuttle off. The ECM is actually this box here, and these are the 2 connectors. And I have to take the black connector off, this one behind here, and put those extra pins in. So I'll do that now, and I'll route the wires and put it back together again. And the thing I need to do is to test whether the Woolich software can actually talk to the ECM and can at least read the tunes off there before I try putting a tune on there. Okay, don't mind the rat's nest of wires, but this is the wire that I've attached to the ECU plug. Basically, it allows programming of the ECU. It uses pins that were unpinned in the ECU, and you can see the wire goes through under the dash and into the log box. And the log box does a couple of things. It interfaces with the computer, but it also logs ECM data. One of the inputs on here is this RJ45, and that actually goes to the Zytronics wideband O2 sensor. So the thing we have to do now is connect up the wideband sensor. There's a couple of things on it. Woolich, the Zytronics kit comes with a relay, and they want you to use a switched power. And I can do that, but I'm thinking that because I've got a shut-off switch underneath the dash, I'm just going to wire it directly to power. It's fused internally, so I don't have to worry about that. And when the car is not being used, I'll just turn it off. And the only reason they want you to use a relay is that if you just leave it on all the time, it will just drain the battery. I'll just switch these, cut off, switch off, and that will get rid of that. The wideband O2 sensor is only going to be on there for the duration of the tuning. So why don't I connect that up? I've now got the Zytronics box installed. You can see the lights on, meaning that it's got power. I just took it from the battery post here after the cut-off switch and the earth around the corner there. I've hooked it up to the actual O2 sensor that comes around and down there, and the data cable comes out here and goes to the log box. Now I've basically just put the log box here. I've zip tied it. The idea being that it's temporary, it's firm, it won't flop about, but it's not neat, which is fine. I'm just wanting to log things up. This is the Woolich Racing software, and I've opened it on essentially the base tune. I just wanted to show you one of the maps that I'm planning to adjust. This is the Ram Air map, and what you see here is that for every gear and for every RPM, it shows you how much extra fuel is added to the main fuel table. And that's because on the bike we have a big Ram air filter sucking air from the front of the bike. However, in the car, I don't have that, but essentially I have an air filter sitting underneath the hood. So I have virtually no Ram air effect at all. So what I'm planning to do is, if I look at gear one, even at maximum RPM, only adds a little bit of fuel, say roughly 30% of what we're seeing at gear 6, because in gear 1 you can't go as fast. So what I'm planning to do is add this amount of fuel to each of these RPM ranges onto the fuel table, and that will be what I put into the tune on the bike. And of course I'll also zero this table out so there is no added Ram air effect going in. So to do that, we'll just look at the fuel map, and I'll do it for both IAP, the atmospheric intake atmospheric pressure table, but also the TPS table. And I'll do that for every entry, for every RPM on the table. And let me show you what that looks like. So if I cancel that and I open the tune that I've got here and look at the fuel map, we can see this slight blue tinge means that I have enriched the table up a little bit, and you can see it's darkish at higher RPMs with manifold pressure, and if I go to throttle position, it's something similar. And across the throttle position, I've enriched the table somewhat. So this is the tune I'm going to put into the ECM, and then I'll take the car for a drive. I'll do some logging, and we'll see what happens. Whether I've enriched it too much, but we can adjust the tune, and we'll see whether the car then behaves better. I'm sitting in the car now, and I've got the laptop hooked up to the logbox, the Woolich Racing logbox. And I'm just going to program the ECM with my tune that I showed previously. So it's just a matter of pressing right ECU. There's a number of things that it's asking you to check, so I agree to all of that, and I press OK. So it's now syncing with the ECU, it's reading data, it's synchronizing, it's raising the ECM now, and we'll go from there. I'll speed up the video just to show you the tuning process. Okay, so the writing of the ECU has completed. It wants me to turn the ignition off to reset the ECU, so I'll do that. Okay, so we have a new fuel map in there. So what I'm going to do now, I'll pull the car out of the garage, I'll start it up and just look at the online data to see what the mixtures look like, if at idle, and once it's warmed up, rev it a little bit to make sure that we're not going super lean. Okay, we've got some logs now, so let's get them and see what they're saying. So we'll just open this, open log file, and you can open a group of them. And okay, this is what we see. We see the this is for IAP, which is the input manifold pressure differential, and you can see everything where it's blue you can see this is what it measured, so it's quite rich. But we see some places here where it's quite lean. So yeah, we're aiming for about 13.2 to 13.5 type air fuel ratio. So this is for IAP, so we probably want to enrich in that and lean this out a bit. And you can see I didn't go through, no, I didn't rev it too high and what have you. If we go to the TPS, similarly, no, we've got an area here which is too lean, and we've got areas here, certainly higher throttle percentages. We see that we're very rich, well, we're quite rich. So what I'll do is that I'll look at the auto tune map, and then we can say, okay, well, this is what it's going to change it to. And we'll just have a look at, see what this is doing here. We can say, oh, okay, it's changing, it's enriching this a little bit, and it's leaning this out a little bit. So let's apply that. Now we can see the original, and this is the new map. So this originally, this is the new map, 4792. If we look at the original, it's 4672. And we'll do that also for the IAP. We'll look at the original, and we'll look at the tune map, and we'll apply this. Okay, so we've applied them. And this is the new tune. So what I need to do now is program this back into the ECM and take it for another drive. I just got back from an hour's drive up to Mount Amanum and back, and I tried to use all the revs and all the gears as much as I could. So let's have a look at what the auto tune reported. So let's go here, let's open the log files, oops, and then okay, so here we are. So the blue indicates that we are rich. So we can see that anything, anything above 3,400 RPM and 4% throttle, we are rich. We are quite rich. Let's have a look at the percentage of the map change. So 10% difference basically means that that's the maximum amount of adjustment I'm allowing auto tune to do. So you can see here at the higher throttle openings, we're basically pulling out 10% in a lot of areas. In the middle range, we're getting closer. We see that no, it's very close to our target AFRs, and we're seeing here in the mid-range we still have to add some fuel. Okay, so that's for the throttle-based tuning. So here we're going to also pull a little bit out of that map as well. Let's have a look at the fuel maps now. So we can see here we've added fuel where it's blue, we've taken fuel out where it's pink and red. So this is for IAP, and for TPS we're removing fuel at higher throttle openings. We can see here, and we're adding a little bit of fuel down low. So let's have a look at the 3D graph. So this is for TPS. So we can see here, this is our, like I said, this axis here is the throttle position. This is RPM, and that's the fuel value, the amount of fuel that we're putting in there. Let's save that as, that's version 5 months since I started tuning the car, and it gradually has improved. I can now rev the car out, and the engine seems to be a lot happier. Yesterday I was at the track and I ran a couple of sessions, created logs, and I just want to show you how what the tune looks like. So let me just open the tune I was using at the start of the day, and let's just grab the log files. And that's here. Let's grab all of them. This also includes the drive down, and it was quite a long drive down. So let's just add that. Here we are. So this is the throttle position, and what we see at high RPMs, so 8,000. Well, we can see that it's quite rich at high throttle position settings and high RPMs. So we see that here. We also see that we're a little bit lean in a couple of areas, and here we're quite a bit rich. So let's look at the percentage map change that we're looking at here. So here we're going to add fuel to make it a little richer, and here we're going to remove fuel to make it leaner. So let's just look at the tune that we created for the car. So that was the tune that I loaded into the car yesterday at lunchtime. And let's look at the fuel maps. So you can see here, no, this is from the original tune. So these are all the incremental changes that I've made, and you might get a better idea if I just put it onto percentage. So you can see how much fuel we've taken out at higher throttle positions, from essentially 11% to 100%. So we've taken up 35% of fuel out in this particular cells, and we've added a little bit of fuel at low throttle positions and very low RPM. So this is how the tune has been modified over the last few months. So I'm very happy with that. We put it into the car. The car now revs all the way out to redline. It runs really well. And to finish this video, I'd like to just show you a lap of me driving around Laguna Seca. I didn't drive particularly well, but the car was running great. I now can concentrate on improving my driving skill and setting up the car, the suspension and what have you.